Uh, I want to talk today after the day after Romney's win in the primary in Nevada, which is now starting to look like he's going to be the Republican candidate. I want to talk about the latest big controversy that has come up with the Catholic institutions of the hospitals and so on being pressured to provide abortion services. That is, there's a pill now that people can take called the abortion pill by some that causes an abortion by killing or preventing the baby from getting nourishment immediately, a hormone thing, and in the womb, and the baby dies and is miscarried by the mother at home. And this is a procedure that the Planned Parenthood has been developing to use in their clinics, where they can't get physicians and so on to do the abortion right there in the clinic. They can just give the pill, and so there's clinics all over that have been pressured to provide this pill. And now, Romney being a Mormon candidate, Mormons are also, like the Catholics, very much against abortion, and their clinics in Utah under Planned Parenthood do not provide abortions, but there are very few clinics in Utah that provide abortions, and it has probably got the lowest number of legal abortions performed of any state in the union, as well as the highest birth rate. But a high birth rate has always been part of Utah. But anyway, I know that there's pressure on all the clinics to provide the abortion pill in a state that is predominantly Mormon and are against abortion. Well, could be done a lot more quiet than abortion performed right in the clinic. And I have connected to Catholic pro-life groups and get their information, their statistics, their study. Right now they have a big Saving One Baby at a Time campaign where they protest at abortion clinics. And so they are very, very conscious and aware of what the latest techniques are in protecting abortion and providing it. So now we have the Catholics who, according to the statistics I saw this morning on George Stephanopoulos' program, that Catholics provide medical services to one-sixth of the people in the United States. There are hospitals and institutions, and they have gone on record as saying that they will not provide abortion services. They're against abortion. It's their religious conviction, and then now we got a head-on clash where the government is moving toward high-pressuring Catholics to provide abortion services, essentially abortion services, which is going against their religion. John Boehner, the Speaker of the House in the Republican Party, is on record today as saying that he believes this to be very much against religious freedom in this country, against what this country stands for, and would be a big mistake for the Democratic Party and the government that it represents to push forward with this agenda of forcing. They have said this before, that that's their goal, that they will force the Catholics to. And that's like saying, well, if you don't believe in choice, we're going to force you to provide it anyway. And Catholics have held out and said in their institutions they will not provide abortion services. Now this is almost like saying it's better to have abortions than it is to have states like Utah that don't believe in abortion, and abortion is, it's better than, it's better to have abortions all over the place. Well, that's what it sounds like. It's better to have the solution of death. Well, I watched Arianna Huffington of the Huffington Post speak her piece today, and I just feel, as I have been blogging, that women who champion choice have been, they've grabbed onto an issue that they feel is particularly theirs, and I don't think that logic is playing a big part in this. It's like they are saying that abortion is necessary. That is the killing of a human being after it's been conceived. And that's all there is to it. And if people don't see that, and they don't provide it, they're going to try to force them to. Well, I think, just like George Will said, it's going to be a big mistake to try to force the Catholic religion and the Catholic hierarchy to provide abortion. That's almost like we're going to change our beliefs. You're going to believe like we do. They could never change my mind on this, and they're not going to change Catholics. I know that. Pro-life activists, they are not going to change it. So this then becomes war. We're going to change you. And Romney, who looks to be, so he's going to be the Republican candidate, comes from a state that with religion is pro-life and anti-abortion. So he is going to have to deal with this trying to force people to provide, at least if they don't provide abortions, provide the abortion pill so the mother can go home. And a lot of times they reported that the trouble with this pill is that the woman gets in trouble with bleeding, as any miscarriage, and then she has to go to emergency, and a lot of times the emergency doctor isn't used to dealing with a problem that develops with a miscarriage and the pill. So this woman has a very bad experience with an abortion pill. But this has become the means of choice for a lot. Is Catholics call it the telemed. They take a sonogram of the baby, and if it's young enough they then call in a prescription for the pill to that clinic. The woman takes the pill, goes home, and has her miscarriage brought on by that pill. So it's called telephone medication to provide abortion. So anyway, they're trying to develop more and better ways to have an abortion. And so in spite of ourselves, this conflict is heating up. It's like they're saying it's old-fashioned, and the religions are saying it's never old-fashioned to try to stop killing, to try to stop people from using a solution, because they don't think that they can control childbirth any other way. They've got to have this sure way of controlling it. They can't control it through how the religions do, or how they urge people. I know I was raised in a state where women, many women would figure out how they could keep from having more children if they didn't want them or they had health problems. And of course there were large families, but in those days, large families were common, they weren't looked upon as somebody impossible to take care of as they have become. A large family nowadays in a city would just be in terrible trouble, whereas out in the country where they had gardens, they had, they could provide food for them. It wasn't such a big thing. So I am just thinking about how in the world we can get through this fight without it becoming too heated, too bitter, too corrosive. But I believe that it is a battle that has to be fought against the people who believe in a violent solution, a death, as necessary. It's necessary because if you provide that and you legalize it, and then it is a temptation to more people. Because we look at it and say, well, it wouldn't be the law if it were wrong. And you have to say that laws can be passed to serve people's weaknesses. And so that doesn't mean that the law is right. It means that enough people somehow or another got this law passed, and this law happened to be passed by the Supreme Court. And we know now that Supreme Court justices are not infallible, they're human. And if they believe, we've got pro-choice justices and we've got pro-life ones. And so if they had an opinion that we should have an abortion, and they ruled in favor of Roe versus Wade, and they legalized it all across the nation, where many people thought the Supreme Court went, where they weren't by a definition supposed to go. They were supposed to rule on the law. They weren't supposed to make it. And in this case, they did make it. And when the Supreme Court makes a law, it's very, very difficult to go against it and to start trying to say, well, we've got to overturn it again. That was wrong. That wasn't right. We can't be a nation. Well, when the whole world has gone pro-choice or is providing legalized abortion in all the civilized countries, the task is even more daunting. That task is very much uphill to try. The religions are really up against it, to try to persuade people that taking life, even in the womb, is wrong. So these are thoughts for us to think about, to be aware of, and look in the news and just think how some of these people feel and how they are going at it one another. Thank you.